Alright, welcome back to another gun video in Modern Warfare. Today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting in Modern Warfare, and it's not really a gun build per se, but it's more of a gun mechanic that has to do with the PP19 Bizon submachine gun, and it is a thing, or like I guess programming for the gun that only goes to two guns that I've found so far, and it is the PP19 Bizon and the LMG, which I will cover later on, which is the Fin LMG. And what this is at a certain point when you fire the gun long enough, your recoil, or for vertical recoil anyways, or going straight up, just stops. And it will just kind of just sit at a certain point going back and forth, like, shooting side to side. And you can have like laser accuracy. Now, I believe it takes about like 1 to 2 seconds for you to do this, so uh, it does take a little while to actually get to that recoil point, but this is turning the gun, or the PP19 Bizon like SMG, into a long range gun because of that mechanic. And I'll show you guys here in a little bit in the game. So for the gun build, you don't really need to do anything. You don't need to have any attachments to actually have this thing on here, but for my recommended gun build, if you were to run around and try to use this, I'd go for the ammunition, go with the 80 round helical drum magazine here. I think it's actually like the only option you have, so I would go with that. For the barrel, I recommend putting on the largest barrel because at one point, you still want as much recoil control as you can before you actually hit that point where there's no recoil to it, unless you don't want to actually go that route and you can have like a smaller barrel or something and make it to where it's a lot lighter, and you can actually just count on that recoil stabilization like programming deal at the end, so you can actually get out those longer shots, but it's really up to you. But what I like to do is make it accurate already and then make it even more accurate after I hit that certain point. So I'll go with the longest range barrel, which is the 8.7 steel barrel. Gives you damage rangeable, velocity, recoil control, the standard stuff for largest barrel with movement speed downsides. The muzzle, now I would recommend using the muzzle brake to control that side-to-side bounce, because eventually that recoil control will kick in and it'll just stop it for vertically, but it will not stop it horizontally, and this is what that's used for recoil stabilization. It will stop horizontal bounce, or it'll help stop that. So it makes it to where your gun is practically a laser at that point. And from there on out, I would probably use like a larger scope if you want to get out those longer ranges. Like, the Core Apollo sight, I think, works really well. You can also use the 3.5 times zoom, like the Cronin C480. Anything really that you want. Reflex sights always work. This is really up to you guys on how you want to run your sights. From there, perks, I would recommend going with sleight of hand. I'm not sure if sleight of hand is still broken right now from the current update, but who knows? It might actually be fixed. Stock, I recommend putting on the Corvus Skeleton stock. It's really the best out of all of them. It gives you aim down sight speed and aim walking movement speed by a pretty good amount. Not as much as the nose stock, but it gives you almost the exact same stats, but it's a little bit less than the nose stock, and it does not hurt your recoil control. So that's what I would want from this gun. So it almost gives you all the stats of the nose stock, but without hurting your recoil. And from there, this is pretty much the build you would want to run. If you don't want to use sleight of hand, you don't need to. Again, like, you can put on the scope or something. I'll put on a reflex sight just for the heck of it. Show you guys how this thing is. And from here, this is pretty much what I would be running, like in any one of my games in like Modern Warfare, like multiplayer, like a 6v6, ground war, even Warzone. This actually works out in Warzone pretty well. For the secondary, I would run with the new handgun that's been added into the game, which is well, not the silver dagger, that's actually one of my blueprints, but it's the SYKOV handgun. I believe it's like 4 kills and 5 different matches, or 4 kills with a handgun and 5 different matches to unlock. And it's actually pretty dang cool. You could turn it into like an automatic firing handgun, but it gets rid of a large amount of hip fire accuracy, plus if you like put on this thing to give you even faster fire rate. But I'll put on like the full auto barrel, the trigger, lightweight single action trigger, the 80 round drum magazine. But I'm really using this handgun not really to deck it out for, to actually have as a primary. I'm really using it for its 80 round drum magazine, which is insane. And I'm also going to go to perks, and then you can either put on fully loaded, which will give you the max amount of starting ammo for your handgun, and it will also stack with your SMG, because the PP19 Bizon uses the same uh, ammunition as a handgun. In Modern Warfare, if you're using this, another gun that's using the same ammo type, they'll both share the same stock ammo. So this is practically giving you like well over 300 rounds for your stock ammo, but I think in private matches it only goes up to like 128 or something along those lines, so it won't actually show you the full deal. But in like actual online games and stuff, that it will show you. But from there, I don't really know, like probably go with the stock or something to help out with recoil control, and this is kind of what I would be running, but it's not really, I'm not really using that for the focus of this build. It's really going to be the PP19 Bizon, and I'll be going over the LMG in the next video, because that one's a little bit different. I want to go to my modes. I want to keep the 5 bots here, and I'm going to get rid of the crank timer. Let's jump into the game. I'll show you how it works. I'll start off in the spawn or something, and I'll shoot it, and you'll eventually see that it just stops. That's actually really cool, because I mean it's really a long range SMG, because usually people would be using like the the MP7 or something for long range, but this guy actually has a recoil stopping deal. So if I look at this wall here firing, right there, it stops right there. You can literally move it around as much as you want. It will never get rid of the effect until you reload. And that's why I recommend the 84 round magazine, so you can get the most out of that little period of time. So as you can see, when I switch to my handgun, both of them have the stock ammo at the bottom of 156. But now both of them have 72 rounds after I reloaded that. So that's what I mean with the handgun here. You want to be using that. Because right now that's the only other gun that actually shares the same ammo as the PP19 Bizon, and that's why I was so excited for that handgun to come out. Not only because it was, fully automatic. It is definitely going to be getting a nerf pretty soon. It's going to end up like a Renetti. Even though, it's already really bad in hip fire and actually shooting in general, so I guess they did fix sleight of hand. But yeah. Aside from me dying, I mean, that's pretty much it. Like, as you guys can see, I shoot it, it just stops. I move it around for as much as I want for that period of time. Now, you don't need to just, let it drift upwards. I'm just showing you guys that I'm just not controlling it. You can definitely move it while it's firing. So you can still hit your target at longer ranges. If you don't already melt them, it's just there to help you out for longer ranges. And the gun actually reloads fairly fast, so it's actually really dang cool. I think like this gun is actually really cool for going on long streaks, because now you got a handgun that holds 80 rounds for you, plus stock ammo. Or the fully loaded for stock ammo, plus the gun that you're holding now, the PP19 Bizon, with 84 rounds in it. So all around, it's just an absolute powerhouse of a gun. Now it's along the lines of like the Uzi, where it shoots slower, so it also helps you out with the recoil. So this is why I picked this gun for. It's one of the alternative options of the MP7. It is definitely better. It hits harder, it just shoots slower, and it holds a lot more rounds. So that's why I would pick it over the MP7.
Good.
And of course, because the recoil coating to it. So it is all around a really cool gun. I don't think many people actually, covered this whole ordeal. And hopefully, someone actually finds it and covers it, because I sure won't be able to make this thing very popular, but there you go. Yeah, so that's the PP19 Bizon with the recoil cap. Now, it doesn't work if you stop firing at a time. Like if you're shooting at someone and you kill them, and if you stop firing, or if you don't kill them and you stop firing, it will have to reset the whole entire deal, and you have to wait that same period of time for a recoil stopping or like recoil deal to actually stop there. So you have to be continuously firing this if you want to actually have that effect. Yeah, it's really good for like ground war or Warzone, not necessarily 6v6 because, you know, maps in that mode or like in this mode here aren't really big enough to have like those long range like shots and stuff. I mean, you can definitely get some on there, but more times than most, you know, it's not really going to be like that. It's going to be like mostly short to medium range.
Die. Better.
Yeah, I mean, like, there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This one's going to be pretty short. It's only roughly around 11-12 minutes or so. And I hope you guys, like, you know, like the video. You go ahead and do that. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. It's actually really cool. I'm surprised they haven't actually fixed the thing. Or I say fixed. It's probably, you know, who knows. It might be actually be intentional. I doubt it is, but it's there. Yeah, if you guys, you know, like this, go ahead, let me know down in the comments. If you guys find anything, you know, different or strange in this game that's kind of along these lines, and let me know about it. I'll try to cover it. And of course, I will give a shout out to, like, you know, whoever actually told me about this. And I believe there's a pretty good amount of you guys watching now, so that's really cool. So who knows? Next video, you know, again, get ready for that. It's going to be over the Finn LMG. And everyone knows that as the chainsaw, because there's an actual barrel named the chainsaw barrel, or not barrel, stock for the, you know, the Finn. And I'll be going over that. And it has pretty much like the same like recoil mitigation thing, but I will go over like how you actually do that because it acts a little bit different and you need like a certain deal for it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.